Hello and welcome to Stories with Dice, an actual play podcast of some of our favorite tabletop role-playing games.
Hey, welcome back to Stories with Dice, an actual play of Tales from the Loop. If you're listening to us, if you can give us a thumbs up, a like, subscribe, or a follow, or anything like that that's social media related, that'd be good. We have a Discord channel you can join called Stories with Dice. We have a Patreon, which you can join for free, or alternatively, if you want to, you can give us money. We need lots of it. We also have a website, Stories with Dice podcast.com.
Correct, Ed. Very well done.
My God, it's like it only took me 7,000 sessions to do that. So let's get on with it. Last time we left the session off, we had the kids who were running from a police officer because he apparently was a cyborg that was chasing them. I guess we'll kind of go back a little bit because that's right at the very end. And so brief rundown. The kids, after spending a night, or most of the kids after spending a night in their hideaway, decided to go meet up for breakfast. Anthony and the others, unaware that Anthony's mum had kind of filed, I suppose, a missing person, and were happily having a nice old breakfast. Susie kind of went out looking for them, found them in the diner, where she bumped into a couple of suspicious individuals, a man and a woman. She literally ran into them on her push bike. After sort of figuring what was what, having, it seems like, particularly good nose for something that's out of the ordinary, we found out that they were definitely being suspicious. Our good friend Sven went to go and have a look to see whether or not they were part of this potential cyborg issue, which the kids seem to be calling it, as to whether or not they've been chipped or turned into some sort of like random cyborg by looking at stitches behind the ear. No such luck, but they did look like they were some kind of like government agency or something like that. Sven went to go and have a look. As he was doing that, they met up with his friend Magnus, who pretty much blanked him. And on a good look at Magnus, found that Magnus himself had some stitches behind his ears. It's at that point that Susie decided to drop the bombshell that the police were looking for Anthony. As a police officer arrived, on closer inspection, it looks like this police officer has also got some stitches behind his ear. And Sven managed to grab Anthony to rush out the diner, as Susie somehow managed to tap into who knows what and blare out some music by shoving a tape machine into the drinks container, which absolutely destroys her. And as Anthony and Sven rode off on their bikes, the cop went to go and give chase. Johannes managed to trip up the cop, and then Susie and Johannes jumped on their bikes to ride off after Anthony and Sven. But we also have Pete. Welcome back. You were kind of like late in the morning to kind of catch up with people because you had to get home and do some chores. So by the time you've kind of like come back into town, you're sort of like making your way. How are you getting to town?
I'll be on my bike heading towards the diner and then just look across the road, bemused as I see the others heading the other direction.
Absolutely. And you kind of give chase with them. Yeah, so that finds our intrepid kids cycling like crazy down little sort of bike paths which crisscross the town of Stenhara, through the woods, through fields, past primary school, past a little housing unit, heading into the darker parts of the woods where their hideout is located, which leaves you all cycling together towards your hideout. What are you discussing?
First of all, I'm going to be inquiring as to who we're running from.
Can you not tell by the music it's the Iron Man?
Yeah.
Cyborgs.
Right. Name pending.
Yeah, Anthony shouts over to Anders and he says, "Cyborg cops! They're trying to kidnap me."
Which, are you sure?
Yeah, talk to Sven.
Yeah. He's friends with one of them.
Is this anything to do with the guard at the factory?
Yeah. And now Magnus is one of them too.
Magnus, but he was all right when we saw him before.
He's been compromised.
Had them scar and stitches on his neck.
Like an implant kind of thing.
Yeah, like an implant. Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, I didn't really believe it. But, I mean, with the CIA or FBI or someone also being here?
Wait, what?
Sven, you got a good look at them.
Yeah, definitely secret agents. There's a conspiracy here.
What if they're Soviet? They could be KGV or B or whatever it's called.
Could be. You're in danger, that's for sure. I think we just need to go to Haven, regroup, and think our next step. And we need to save Magnus.
Yeah, but we got to make sure that they're not following us. They cannot know where our hideout is.
So split.
No, man, that never works in any of the horror movies I've ever seen.
Well, we're almost there anyway. It's not too far away at this point.
Indeed, your abandoned factory in the middle of the woods comes looming large.
So, moot point anyway. But, as long as, like, they're going to be able to find this place, it's not even on the maps.
Johannes, what's a moot point?
He just kind of, like,
Ben
scrunkles up
makes
his
them all
face
the
and he's
time.
like, I'll tell you later.
Is it like a moat around a castle?
Possibly. I think it's a business term to emphasize things.
Right, come on, Anthony. Make a decision. Where are we going?
We're at the hideout. Now we have to make our plan.
You might as well go and sit inside.
Yeah, we got to go inside, hide our bikes, and go inside. And we should set a watch. Somebody should be checking the road or the path or whatever.
They'll never find us. Besides, I need to get some paperwork done for Susie.
Can it, as long as it's not wait, is this a D&D character or something? I'm not sure we have time for that.
No, certainly not. This is very important business paperwork.
Right.
Just need to get you put your John Adams. That's what they said.
I'm going to hide the bikes.
Okay, you make your way up into your hideout, which is above on the top floor. Again, one of the wonderful parts of your hideout. It's got loads of posters of bands and stuff. There's a section for all of you, except for Susie, who's obviously not part of the gang yet, by the look of it. Yes, you can see usual stuff, but it also looks like, for anyone who wasn't here, that people have had a sleepover. There's still some sleeping bags and some old pizza boxes and some, I think some of them were some like microwave meals that were kind of like, that were made before they turned up, and they're kind of like scattered over the floor. It's exactly how you left it this morning. What are your plans?
Okay, so we need to go back to the ice cream shop.
What, you just going to pull this thing out of his head?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony or Susie know how to do this, right? It's science, and they are science people.
I think if it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
As much as I really love for this to be my first chance at real life surgery, that's not sensible.
But we need to help him. He's my friend.
Right. Did you see how he was rather distracted by the loud noise? Maybe we could, sedate them with frequencies. Like the greatest mix track ever.
Maybe if it's electrical, we could somehow overpower it, blow a fuse some way.
Fine, I can hold him while you guys electrocute him. I'm okay with that.
Wait. We're gonna electrocute Magnus?
Don't think that's what I said we were going to do, because again, I think that still lies a little more heavily on the side of an actual crime.
I think if we want to have a chance to save your friend, we've probably got to figure out what exactly is going on. Maybe there's an off switch somewhere. Most things have an off switch.
Could be in the toy plant, in the toy factory.
Makes sense.
That's why they didn't want us to get in.
Well, Data on Star Trek has an off button on his back. Maybe
He's a
he has one
robot,
too.
he's a proper robot, isn't he?
He's an android.
What's the difference?
I don't know. They're spelled differently.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, while you're all kind of like sitting there and having a discussion, you realize that there is a box on the floor. I reckon, Douglas, you noticed this. It's one of the boxes that you brought back from the toy shop, and it is broken open.
I broke one of the toys. I'm not going to be able to sell that now. Well, let's see if I can see if it's salvageable. I'll pick it up.
Yeah, you bend down to pick it up, and you can see that there is one of these robots towards the back end behind where the box was. It's the red Scania truck, which is now sort of like turned into a little robot. And it kind of like sees you and runs from one side where you are towards the other side of the room.
That's one of those little robots. Grab it.
Okay. Yeah, it runs.
Just go after it like a madman.
Hey, make a move roll if you want to try and catch it.
I think Susie will be doing the same, because this is now a game.
Well,
Okay, one success.
Yep. Sven jumps on the little thing, and you kind of grab hold of it, again, like with the other one, it feels a lot stronger in your hand than you would expect. And it's kind of like moving around. It's like trying to grab one of your fingers to pry one of your fingers apart so that it can kind of get out, but you've got hold of it.
Perhaps if the others are being maybe controlled by frequencies, maybe it's the same frequency that's in this. We need to turn this one off.
We need to talk to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull a leg off.
No,
This thing.
no.
Like if it was an ant and like, fuck it, so it doesn't run anymore.
Make a force roll for me.
2 successes.
Okay. You basically grab and twist the leg. As you grab and twist the leg, it goes and screams as you pull its leg off. There's little spurts of like motor oil or something. As it's sort of like thrashing around, it's making this kind of like horrible servo motor kind of noise as it's like going spurt from its broken leg part. And the little truck robot is going.
And I will bet if you don't stop moving right now, I will take the other leg off too.
It stops moving.
There you are. Do whatever you need to do, guys.
It can hear us. Hello?
The little head looks up at you.
Gosh, it can hear us.
So ask science things, guys. I don't know.
Do we have a jar or something we can put in?
Anthony goes over to it, and actually he's got tears in his eyes, and he's pissed at Sven. And he's like, "You heard it, you jerk. What's the matter with you? It's kind of cute."
I will fire him again if he doesn't help us with my friend Magnus.
Well,
I'm going to take the other leg.
no,
Yes.
stop.
Yes.
And I turn to the robot and I say, "Are you one of the good guys?"
Kind of looks at you and puts its hands up in front of its face in sort of like a defensive posture. Kind of like it looks like it's nodding or something.
"I'm sorry about Sven. He's really worried about his friend. Do you know what the fuck is going on?"
Anthony.
"What?
It just looks at you.
Can you speak?"
Head's moving and as if it's like cocking its head from side to side,
Then,
trying to
then
understand you, but it doesn't say anything.
are you in too much pain to speak? You can nod your head yes or
It
no.
might not actually have any sort of audio box.
Well, you just
Oh,
heard
it definitely
yell
does. It
when-
just screamed real loud.
yeah. when Sven tortured it,
No. Did not torture it.
Kind of just sort of like tries to sort of curl up as best it can to stop itself from being hurt more. Kind of a bit like a wounded puppy, maybe.
Right. If you promise not to run off, we can put the leg back on.
No.
I think we can.
Sven,
He needs to help us.
Yeah,
How's he
Sven,
going
he's
to
not-
do so without a leg?
and he's
Like,
not
if he
gonna
can't
help it.
talk,
I'm sure he can ride. I don't know.
He's
Does
not
he
going to
have-
help us if you keep hurting him, Sven. It's not
Whatever.
okay.
I'm going to smoke a cigarette. Do whatever. And
Go
I
outside
just
and
take off.
smoke your cancer sticks.
I will do so. Thank you so much.
all right, look, I know it was brought up earlier, but I think it's a lot safer to perform surgery on a robot than a human. So we must set up the operating table. Anders, have you got your tools?
Yeah, I'm not sure how much use these will be.
Go on.
I plonk a big tub of very heavy duty tools on the table.
Maybe just got some glue, stick it back on.
I dig around. I've got like I've got like a magnifying glass, and that's about it. So that's going to have to do. You not got a screwdriver or anything?
I think I've got a small Phillips screwdriver and I'll rustle around in the box. See if
Soldering
I can
iron?
find it.
You've got a bunch of like tools and stuff that you could probably use to kind of do that. Well, that's going to require a tech roll.
Tinker, right?
Tinker, that's it.
I think Anders, you're the best at this.
Well, you'll have to come up with some ideas because this doesn't look anything like the machinery I'm used to working on.
All right. It's okay. First of all, lay the patient down. Let's take a look.
Make
I
a
mean,
calculator roll for me.
It's a bit of
8 successes.
one success.
Excellent. Yeah, you think because you've really looked at the previous leg from before, you reckon you could probably put the leg back on? I mean, it probably won't be amazing, but you'd probably be able to do something.
He hasn't twisted it too much. We're just going to have to screw it back in.
If we can fit that long bit there into the edge of the servo, that would work, but I'm not sure where the wires go.
Yes,
Well, match
sir,
the
Sergeant.
colours.
What do you need?
Red to red and
I'm going to situate myself next to the toolkit and wait for him to ask for the different tools to then pass over.
Okay. Do you want to make, does Johannes want to make a roll for Tinker?
Right, I'll give it a go. Do my best.
You can get a +2 to this roll because Susie's already looked at this previously and is kind of pointing some stuff out, and you've got some tools. Okay. How many successes did you get?
2.
Okay, yeah. I mean, with under Susie's direction, based on the previous leg, you managed to put it together. I mean, the leg's probably going to be about 80% effective, but it's back on.
Well, little guy, I think you might have a bit of a limp, but it seems to be working.
He kind of sits up, and he sort of like gives you a thumbs up.
There you go, Anthony. Your little friend's mobile again.
Thanks, Anders.
All right. If you're not going to talk, can you lead us somewhere?
Kind of looks around with his head.
Are you Red Beam? Is that the best way to address you?
He looks around. He puts his thumb up.
Do you remember anything before you came here? Did you come from a factory where there was other toys?
Thumb up.
Do you know what's happening to the people that have the scars on their head?
Puts his thumb up.
Do you know how to write?
Puts his thumb up.
Thank God.
Well, I know someone who's got a lot of pencils and paper.
Yeah. So here's a piece of paper, and I don't know if your little robot hand can hold this pencil or not.
He can grab it with his arm or whatever.
Can you just write down what's happening to our friends and the people in this town and what we have to do to stop it?
He puts his thumb up and he holds onto the pencil. He doesn't appear to be writing anything down.
Something simple. Write your name. I hold the paper up for him.
Okay. He holds the pen up. He doesn't write on it. He just holds the pen up with both his hands above his head.
I think we need to take the other leg off.
You're outside smoking.
I just came back. I'm just looking at you guys from the door. I'm this is happening.
Yeah. Can I try and figure out if he's actually comprehending anything that's going on, or is he just saying yes to everything?
Yeah.
So far, all he has is just thumbs up to every single thing we've said, and we gave him
He has. He seems to put thumbs up. You've given him things to hold on to, but he hasn't really done anything with the pen other than when you held the paper up, he held the pen up above his head in sort of almost mimicking what you were doing.
Okay, can I make a check to see if if he's actually understanding anything we're actually talking to him about?
And how are you going to do that?
Like comprehension? Be I don't know. That's interesting. Is there any sort of no? Can't do a Turing test.
You know what I would do? I would just tie him. I would just tie him up and walk him to wherever he wants to go. Tie him up very, very tight.
Yeah.
Well, are you going to let Sven tie up?
No. Anthony is going to take the pen or the pencil from the robot and is going to write his name. He's going to write on the paper. He said, "Look, like this," and he writes, "Hi, my name is Anthony. What's yours?"
Okay.
And then he hands the pen back to the robot.
Okay. You have to head back to the robot, and he looks at what you've written on the paper, and he grabs the pen and he starts to write on the paper, but it's just basically a line of squiggles and circles and it's the kind of sort of thing you'd probably do when you were about 2 if you had a crayon or something.
Guys, do you think he's writing in an alien language?
I think Red Beam's just not very smart.
Hey, Anthony.
Maybe he saw the busted robot behind us and he's scared.
There's also really not a lot of movement in that. And writing takes a little bit more than just up and down or circles.
Well, okay, here's a test. Robot, is your name Sven?
He puts a big thumbs up.
Is your name Anders?
He puts a big thumbs up.
Are you, I would point over to a spanner. Are you a spanner?
He looks over to the spanner and puts a big thumbs up.
Yeah, he doesn't understand anything that's going on.
Well, he did understand one thing.
When Sven says that, he kind of he basically puts his hands up and kind of moves away from Sven.
So what do we know about these robots? Anthony, did you read any of the comic books?
No, I only watched the Transformers cartoons, but these aren't Transformers. These are different. This is real.
Yeah. I did look at some of the stuff for if people would be interested in buying them. I won't know.
Are they supposed to have a leader robot? Someone, one that would control them all.
Yes, those were the most expensive ones.
Yes. Equius Optimus was the leader. He is the large carrier truck.
The bad guy one was something else. What was it?
Megaton Prime.
'Cause we actually got that one, didn't we? It's somewhere around here.
Did have that one.
Where is that? Where did you guys put that?
It got out of my backpack and it ran away. Should we go to the toy store and buy Equius, whatever his name is, Prime, Mr. Prime?
That's if he's still there, if nobody else
I
got
didn't
him.
see any others that were there. That was kind of the big ticket price one. Besides, they'd lost a lot of their stock, if you remember.
Also, I
Yeah.
hate that I'm saying this, but maybe Sven's right. Like we're not going to be able to keep this little guy here, so maybe we could make a little like lead or leash or something for him. Walk him with us.
He puts his thumbs up. When you say that, Susie?
You could just put him back in his box.
I mean, his box is busted. He's basically ripped out of it.
Yeah.
Come out.
Well, like, he lives in boxes.
Has anyone got any rope or anything, string?
He's got some string, I'm sure, kicking around.
So I could do, going to create like a 4-loop system that ties around each one of the limbs and then onto the back, like a little toddler walker.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. Yep, that's fine.
Well,
What do we do now, guys?
I think the only way we're going to find out what's going on is go back to the factory.
Yeah, with this guy tied in front of us.
I'm not sure how much help he is. He's not, as I said, the brightest, sharpest spanner in the toolbox.
But he was going somewhere.
When you say the word spanner, he puts his thumbs up.
So let's go. What are we waiting for? Let's tie this thing up and let's go. I will tie it in front of my bike and I just go and grab the guy.
I've popped the
There's like a little harness on it now.
harness on him.
Mm-hmm.
Pop him on the floor. He can walk.
If you put him on the floor, he'll walk, and he'll sort of like walk with a bit of a limp, but yeah, he'll walk. And he's really slow. I mean, he's got little tiny steps.
And let's try to grab him.
Okay. You go to grab him. He basically tries to run off away from you. You can make another move roll to try and grab him. He does not want to be grabbed by you.
There you go. Another success.
Another success. Yeah, you grab him. When you grab him, there's another sort of like noise from his like servers and stuff, which sounds almost like a bit of a scream, but it sounds more like it's like his servers are like overcompensating to try and get away from you.
Why don't I put him in my pocket? I don't think he likes you, Sven.
I don't like him either.
He's just squirming in your hand, Sven.
Okay, open your backpack.
Fine. I open my backpack.
I put it inside and I close. Do we have a lock?
No, you probably don't have a lock.
I will take a small rope or something and try.
You've got some like wire or something.
Yeah, I will try to
Yeah.
close the zipper in a way that cannot be opened easily.
Okay. Yep, that's fine.
The harness is going in with him then.
Let's go, guys. I need to find this
So
master
where are you
robot.
off to?
We're heading back to the factory. We might not want to go in via the main entrance this time. I'll see if I can find the wire cutters.
Good thinking.
Okay. In the meantime, you kind of get all your stuff together. Is there anything the rest of you want to do? Anything you want to take specifically or?
Is there a payphone nearby?
I will talk to Susie. Susie, you said something about frequencies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it would work if you get a big speaker?
I think you get a speaker.
A big one?
Big enough? Sure.
Yeah. I think that might be helpful, as a dissuasive measure.
Yeah, sure. I can swing by.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, what is Anthony and I guess Johannes will do?
Anthony is talking to the robot through his backpack and just he's like apologizing that Sven he's like, I'm sorry that Sven ripped your leg off, but, Anders put it back. So, we're good. Everything's okay.
You can empathize roll for these. Okay. Any successes?
No successes.
No successes. Okay. Yeah. You kind of like talk to him. It seems to calm him down. He doesn't seem to be he's definitely not trying to get out of your rucksack. He's not trying to rip through anything. He moves around when you move around, but it's not sort of like to get out. It's just like he's just knocking around in your rucksack.
Right. Anders is trying to get together a set of tools that he thinks might be useful for this
Okay.
mission.
Yeah,
That'll probably be the wire cutters, set of mole grips, a small lump hammer,
Yeah,
and
that's fine. You
and a
basically
crowbar.
Sure, you stick them all in like a bag. That's not a problem. Douglas, what are you going to be?
The only thing of main concern is at some point, Magnus will put a piece of paper in front of Susie and ask for a signature. That's what he's concerned about.
Okay.
Just put an X on the line.
What?
It's the contract for the organization.
Look, we're in a bit of a hurry. Maybe later. As she climbs down from the hideout.
Oh, you've just got to put an X. It's take 2 seconds.
Sorry, gotta go. Get in the speaker.
Dear, nobody has any respect for proper procedure.
None whatsoever. Okay. Is there anything that Sven wants to grab from the hideout, or you pretty much got everything you need?
I have everything I need. Well, perhaps take a hammer. Now you're thinking about it. I'll take a hammer.
Okay. Yeah, you take a hammer.
I'll hand you the small lump hammer that I've got in my kit.
There you go. Okay. You get back on your bikes and you go back the way you came towards the factory. As you're cycling, you kind of are going through the woods. As you're just coming out of the woods into a clearing, you see a police officer walking towards you.
It's the same as before.
It's a lady police officer, and she kind of looks up as you also cycle out of the cycle path. You're probably a good 50, 60 meters away from her. But she looks up and she can see you also cycling in this direction.
She won the cyborg.
You can't tell from here. Susie, you recognize her from the person that you spoke to this morning.
Right.
I will cycle right up to her, stop about, a few feet away from her, and just look at her and say, "Are you a cyborg?"
She looks down at you. She looks over at you. And she looks around and she says, "No, I'm not a cyborg. I'm Inspector Ing-Marie. Your mum is really worried about you."
Can I tell if she's had that scar?
Yeah, she's got her hair sort of pulled back in like a sort of a really tight bun on her hat, just underneath her hat, and you can see there's no scar side of her.
Okay, so I call over my shoulder and my friends to the other kids, and I say, "She's not a cyborg. Maybe she can help us."
She looks down at you and she says, "What do the cyborgs look like?"
I look at her. Does she have any stitches?
No, when you cycle closer to her, no.
And I say that there are people, but they've been operated on the sides of their head.
Have they?
They're after us. You have to warn my dad. He works at the Loop. I bet he knows someone who can help us.
I can do that. You need to get hold of your mum and let her know you're safe.
Will do. And then I'm cycling off again.
She doesn't seem to try and stop you. And as you cycle past, she goes, "Susie," she just raises an eyebrow at you. And as you all cycle past, she walks following you, probably travel another couple of 100 meters, and you kind of come out onto sort of like a side road, and you can see there's a police car on the side road. You cycle past that, it's empty. So the plan is to go back to the factory. Anthony, is there anything you want to do differently than that, or are you planning to go back to the factory as well?
Well, if there is a payphone between here and the factory, he'll use it to call his mom.
It can be.
Okay, so that's what he will do. He will call his mom. He'll stop at the nearest payphone.
The rest of you going to wait for Anthony to make his call and then move on, or are you?
I'm still probably heading back home because I got to go get.
You're going home. Yeah, that makes sense.
I will stay with Anthony. It's fine.
I'll save Anthony. There's cyborgs about. Apparently.
Sure. Yeah. And what about Anders?
Yeah, I'll be there as well.
Okay. So you dial your telephone number for home, and immediately the phone gets picked up. It's your mum.
Mom, you have to tell Dad. You have to tell him.
God, Anthony, what the hell have you done?
Mom, you have to tell Dad. Tell him. Cyborgs are taking over the island.
Come on. What are you doing, Anthony? You need to come home right now.
Being chased by cyborgs. You have to tell Dad.
You're not being chased by cyborgs.
You never listen. I hang up the phone on her.
So everything's sorted with your mum then, Anthony?
As if. Let's go.
Okay.
Start cycling off again.
Cycle off. Are you going a particularly sneaky way? You can kind of get around the back side of the factory rather than go up the road that you had before.
Yeah, that definitely sounds, especially since Anders has the wire cutters to get through the fence, that definitely sounds like the option that we're taking.
You can see that you can kind of go over the fields and come through the back area of it rather than going up the main area, which means you can get a little bit of cover as you sort of like travel that direction. You're going to wait for Susie to arrive with said speaker.
Yeah, that's what our plan was.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll probably hold back for a while and have a little montage of us.
She
putting
really
bits of
takes a
undergrowth.
while to get there because she's gone and grabbed her like synth and trying to hold both of those things while cycling. Absolute pain.
Okay. You keep like dropping it and picking it up and dropping it and picking it up and, you know.
See much like people wandering around outside the factory, or
Depending where you kind of want to like situate yourself, if you stay away from like sort of the main entrance, you are not going to notice anything. If you want to see what's going on, you'd have to situate yourself towards the front of the factory to see it.
I will tell everyone, I think the main place is probably the big building. That's where the Carla sign went in. The other one is the small one was the warehouse. So if they have an antenna or master robot, it must be there.
where did you see all the tiny robots last time?
They were outside. They were just outside. Sort of. There was probably about 15, 20 of them.
But they're not here now.
Well, obviously you'd have to sort of like find some way of spotting them in the large open area of the factory. As I said, when you look at the factory, you've got like the main gate, then there's a smaller sort of like warehouse, and you've got the larger 2-story sort of like factory. Mixed in between that, there's loads of barrels, there's old sort of like cars and vehicles and old trucks, which are sort of piled up on the right-hand side of the factory's lot. And there's lots of barrels and stuff. There's places essentially you could hide. It means that it doesn't afford you the best view through the chain link fence for sort of like robots running around on the ground or any like that sort of thing.
You don't need to like go around the front because I'm the only person who hasn't been here before. So they would have they don't know who I am. I'm just a big
I
kid.
suppose you just use the whole cutters and go around, trying to stick it.
Yeah. Well, we've got time to pass right now before Susie gets back.
No, that's a good idea, Johannes. They don't know you yet. We have an advantage.
While you're waiting, Susie, you're having a wonderful time trying to bring all this stuff with you. And as you're sort of like driving, you're sort of like cycling along a side road. Are you going to be sticking to the main roads, or are you going to be sticking on some side roads? I mean, what's the plan?
She's given up cycling at this point. What she's done is put like the amp on the seat and then like the synth up on top, holding the wires, and then is wheeling the bike along with it.
Okay, cool. So you're sort of like wheeling along the bike, and this car pulls up beside you, and a man with handlebar moustache gets out, and he kicks your bike from underneath you, grabs you, throws you in the back seat, and sticks a cloth over your face, which smells horrendous. And as he does that, you're like, you go to scream, and you sort of like breathe in this sort of like noxious stuff that he's got on this like tissue or something, and immediately it sort of goes black. The rest of you are sort of like waiting around for Susie. Susie, you wake up. You are in a room with a bed. It looks like you're in a motel of some kind. You can see the woman with black hair and the gentleman with the handlebar moustache looking at you. You are sitting on one of the chairs, and the gentleman is sitting opposite you. The woman is standing. And he says,
Are my hands tied? Am I tied to this chair? Or am I just...
They're not tied. No, they're not tied. You're just... Looks like you've been basically put in the chair and you've woken up.
I'm looking around.
Okay, you look around. Looks like a well-used hotel room. It's got 2 beds next to each other. As you sort of look around, you can see on one of the... There's a sort of like a card, sort of like on the floor, or in fact, there's a menu on the floor. It says Apple Farm Yard Motel, which you know is a motel in town. The woman says, so...
I stay quiet.
What's happening with you and your friends?
I stay quiet.
Looks over and says, Anders. Anders kind of like pulls out a gun from underneath his jacket and puts it quite loudly on the sort of like table off to the side from him. They both look, what's going on?
I think Susie is like trembling lip, starting to tear up a bit.
What's happening? Tell us.
We're currently playing a game where we think there are people around town that are cyborgs or something. We're running around like we're playing with the... Honestly, we're not doing anything wrong. We're just playing.
That fact.
As far as Susie believes, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. She says, and where are your friends now?
Susie's crying at this point.
You don't seem to care too much about the
No,
fact you're crying.
Well, the factory,
What's happening in the factory?
the base,
The base of?
the toys or whatever. I don't know.
To them glance at each other. See, and what do you know about the toys?
I don't really know much at all. They're just toys.
Like sits down and she kind of like pulls out from one of the, you can't quite see it, behind one of the chairs. She pulls out like a bunch of cakes, like little sort of feet cakes, and like looks like some kind of soda. And she says, "You're being very brave." She gives you the cakes and the soda.
Opening any of that.
He says, "They're from Rick's Energy, who control the loop." And she passes you some ID. And it's a picture of her with energy sort of like symbols and stuff on it. It says that she's an investigator for them. She says, I think there's something dangerous happening in the factory. I think there's something going on with the power grid. It's really important if you tell us if your friends are anywhere near the place, because they could really get hurt.
Oh, we didn't know that.
No, I understand. And she sort of like puts her hand on your shoulder. She gently pats it. She says, "Do you know anything about what could be happening? Have you heard anything? Have you seen anything? You know that you were at the factory yesterday. Your friends got into the factory. You know if they saw anything?"
Well, I don't. I'm not really sure. I think that's where this whole cyborg game came from.
I see. Do you think your mom will think if she realizes you've been in trouble doing this sort of thing?
Susie just shakes her head.
Says, "Look, you seem like a good kid. So how about I don't tell your mom? Don't have to get anyone else involved. We don't have to get any of the law enforcement people involved. You can just go about your time, and we'll just pretend this never happened. How about that?"
Susie just nods. Wipes
She
some
says,
tears.
he kind of gives you some tissues. It's got sort of like apple farm yard and stuff all over it. She says, "Look, why don't you go and find your friends, make sure they're okay, and stay away from that factory. It's very dangerous. The electrical statistics or the statics will probably show." She basically starts talking a bunch of gobbledygook. You please make a tinker. In fact, make a calculator.
They're all the same to me.
One of them.
That's one subject.
He has no idea what she's talking about. And she says, "Look, off you go. Everything will be fine."
Where's my bike? Where's my sim?
Oh. "That's okay. We've got all that for you." And they basically open the door and you're in the motel, and you can see your bike is up against the front of the motel room. You can see that your synth and everything else is also there. And there's that black car the grey black car that was they were driving outside the front. "It's okay. Run along now. Back to the other kids." So you are at the factory waiting on Susie. As you're sort of like waiting, you can hear the sound of a truck coming. You see sort of like one of these sort of like half-sized trucks drive up. You can just make it out over the sort of like grass and stuff, leading towards the entranceway. And the truck goes in, and then it just disappears into the factory area.
How long do you think we should wait for Susie?
Until she come?
How long is it going to be until she comes?
You got to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, I don't think we can wait for her anymore. What's it been like? 3 hours?
Oh, no. I was not.
Maybe the
I'll check.
cyborg. How long has it been, Ed, since Susie?
Yeah, so she's probably been missing probably 2 or 3 hours. Makes sense.
Oh, okay. I was trying to exaggerate because Anthony tends to do that.
Probably a couple of hours.
Okay.
Should
I
be.
think she's in trouble. I think that means we got to move into this factory now.
I agree. I'm with Anthony on this.
The cyborgs got her.
She might be in that truck.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, right. Anders, can you cut the fence?
Sure. Maybe we should be a bit careful about going inside.
Well,
When we were in there before, the little robots were chasing after us and looked very dangerous.
If they're anything like the one in his backpack, they're not very smart. We can outthink him.
Take it you're going to go and cut the tree fencing.
Yeah, I'll do my best to sneak up with the bits of undergrowth tucked in around my clothing.
Okay. So who's got the worst sneak out of all of you?
I have 0 and a body of 2.
Well, Johannes, excellent. Could you please make a sneak roll?
Okay, that is a straight body roll. Nope. No successes.
Excellent. You make your way towards the fencing. You've got your snippers out. You think you're kind of partially hidden from any kind of view. Take a couple of steps up towards the fencing. That seems like a great place to leave it for the session. Thank you very much once again for another fun-filled episode of Tales from the Loop. Anything you'd like to say, Marco?
No robots were actually harmed in the making of this episode.
No, I know little girls are abducted either.